Hello world! Today I want to talk about something that's likely more controversial than politics and religion. Because even when you're debating that, I know that at least some people may agree with you, and in this one, I'm pretty confident fairly no one agrees with me. That's why it's very hard to talk about. I've decided in the past couple of years that I am just not a gamer. I don't like playing games. I don't get them. I'm not sure why they're so popular and what people like about them, and I have not been this way my entire life. It's not to say that I've never played a game or that I will refuse to play a game if I am asked to. Not true at all. In fact, I really enjoy watching other people play games, bizarrely. But when I was little, I think the first games I got into was like the built-in Macintosh games that were on my dad's iBook. There was Automatic, there was Nanosaur, there was Demo Rising, all of which I was never very good at, but when I was little, me and my friends would want nothing else more than to just find some kind of computer game to play, and we would spend hours on it, just like a lot of guys' childhoods. In my age particular, all my friends are really into video games, they all play them all the time, but I've decided as I've gotten older that I've really lost all interest in it, and I haven't found a game that has made me want to be a gamer again. And listen, I have really tried. As I've gotten older, a lot of people may think that I am not a gamer because I have so many Apple products and Macs are not friendly for gaming. Well, part of that's true. In my freshman year of high school, I bought a custom-built gaming PC from one of my friend's brothers, which at the time was top of the line. It had a very powerful GPU, very powerful processor, tons of storage, and at that point I was like, great, now I finally have a rig that can play games back in Windows 7 days, so it was pure. And I bought games. I bought Crysis 3, I bought Battlefield 4, games that I thought looked cool, Wolfenstein: The New Order, Elder Scrolls Skyrim, Goat Simulator, I don't know why I listed that. That doesn't go as well with the others. But I tried and I played those games as much as I could before I ended up having to do something else. I have a very bizarre personality to where I kind of have to keep myself busy, and I think that's why YouTube has been good for me, because there's essentially no limit to how much work you can do on YouTube. I don't get vacations, and when I am out of town, I have to work on videos in advance to publish when I'm leaving. Like, I'll be leaving to San Diego in 2 days, so I have to make videos in advance so that they come out during those days that I am out of town. But I work on weekends, and I don't get summer off, I don't get Christmas vacations, I don't get stuff like that, but I'm okay with it because there's not a lot of time I can spend just sitting. I like having stuff to do. And because YouTube is so competitive, it takes a lot of my time. And I think doing YouTube for quite a lot of my life the past couple of years, it's tricked my consciousness into thinking that everything I do has to be efficient and I cannot waste a lot of time. I can never go too many hours without doing something. By doing something, I mean something productive. I have to be creating something. I have to be managing something. I have to be updating things. YouTube has been a great way for me to always have something to do. I guarantee you, if you're a YouTuber, you're never going to be bored because there will always be more to do. And I found that in these last few years, I've been doing YouTube more and more, and of course right now I'm doing YouTube more than ever. The types of entertainment I enjoy have changed because the amount of time entertainment may pull from you kind of affects my ability to be productive. And that's why I'm not just saying that I'm not a gamer, it's also why I'm not a very avid book reader. There's tons of books I've loved, and I've read tons in the past, lots of novels, biographies. I've read lots of books, but I don't read them as much as I used to, and I think it's not because I don't enjoy them. It's because the sheer amount of time it takes to get through one. It is a fairly big commitment to say you're gonna read a full-on novel. It takes a lot of hours, and yeah, it's good for your brain, and yeah, you get to imagine things in your head, which I think is great, and I think that books are a great medium for being the most descriptive and stuffing the most amount of content into a one single purchase. I love books. I'm not saying I hate them. I'm just saying they take a lot of time to get through. Then, of course, the other form of media is movies. I've realized that nowadays I rarely sit down and watch an entire feature film start to finish. Even that 2-hour commitment can kind of make me feel like I'm lazy and I'm not getting things done. I've discovered that I prefer to have media going in the background while I'm editing, while I'm writing or reading or doing something else. I will put on a show or a YouTube series that is kind of white noise, and it's typically stuff I may have seen before. Like for me on Netflix, I am always watching Parks and Recreation and The Office. Those are my 2 favorite TV shows of all time. I've seen every episode of those shows at least 8 times, and yet I still put them on loop because I still laugh at them. And again, each episode is only about 20 minutes, so it's not a huge commitment. Whereas a lot of my friends like to pull out the Lord of the Rings trilogy and do a marathon just for fun. I cannot stand that. Even 40-minute episodes of TV shows are kind of a big commitment to me, and it's like, I'd rather be working on something else. I'd rather be producing something. Like Like, I got really into The Flash on CW. I got through the first 2 seasons and thought, oh man, I love this show. Season 3 came out, but I never got back into it because I'm so busy making Hello World, trying to vlog, trying to create content for the tech channel. I feel like I don't have that kind of time anymore to where I can just sit down, relax, and enjoy a very long piece of entertainment. That includes movies and 40-minute TV episodes like Lost. And then, of course, comes to the point of this video games. I think by far video games are the most time-consuming media. Yes, there's entertainment value in them, and I admit I've played video games and been entertained by them, but I don't think it's as simple as movies or books. The thing about video games is I'm not sure how you critique them because a lot of people have different tastes, and I think the spectrum of video game tastes is a lot wider than that of movies. We have a pretty good standard of what is a good movie and what is a bad movie. There are, of course, exceptions. It's never true that everyone in the world likes one movie or everyone in the world hates one movie, but for the most part, I can say things like Star Wars is fun. There are movies in that franchise that people enjoy. Very popular franchise. We can all confidently say that A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, The Force Awakens, those are pretty good movies. They're fairly enjoyable. A lot of people like them. Again, not everyone, but vast majority of us do. And I can say things like Adam Sandler's Jack and Jill is universally hated. You're going to hate yourself while you watch that movie. It's a terrible waste of time. It's a scam film, but there's probably a couple people out there who might enjoy it. But you know, for the most part, we have a general idea of a good and bad movie. Video games, I don't know how to judge anymore because you can't really go by graphics because a lot of games that people really enjoy don't put graphics first. Everyone loves the Nintendo Switch with Zelda Breath of the Wild, and that's kind of a step backwards in terms of graphics because you can't even play that at 1080p. The frame rates are lower and it doesn't look realistic. It looks kind of cartoony, but people love that game. They love how immersive it is. They love all the options in there. And then, of course, there's games like Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, which Call of Duty is a popular franchise. Lots of people play Call of Duty, and yet at the same time, there's a whole group of people against it who say, oh, that's such a cliche game. Oh, I hate it. Infinity Warfare looks dumb. It looks crappy. And yet I look at it and I'm like, well, the graphics look good. Doesn't that mean it's a good game? And everyone goes, oh, no. It's not like that at all. Call of Duty hasn't changed a bit. It's all about Battlefield. Battlefield looks better. There's more options in Battlefield. At the end of the day, I kind of get tired of it and think, you know, games like Halo, games like Counter-Strike, Battlefield, Call of Duty, Insurgency, whatever you want to call it, doesn't the gameplay get a little bit boring with simply looking at the bad guy and pressing the mouse? We've been doing this for over 2 decades, I think. First-person shooters are not new in any sense of the word, and people are still okay with just a different texture pack of the same gameplay, which is run, see bad guy, shoot bad guy, avoid line of fire. That describes like 50, 60 games that are $60 today, and yet people will buy all of them. I don't get how people can be entertained by that, or people get upset by that. They'll be in a game and they'll be like, no, this guy beats me! And it's like, well, he's better than you. Don't you want a challenge? Isn't that what you want out of a game? But then again, if you were to open Counter-Strike and play offline, and play with nothing but bots, where none of them could shoot you and you could shoot all of them, that would be considered stupid, because you're not challenging yourself. That's way too easy. So people get mad when the game is really hard, but also people get mad when the game is really easy. But then, of course, a lot of games out there have campaigns that try to tell a story. And a lot of us are really into games because of their lore, like Fallout, which doesn't really have a set story, but it has a world that people can explore. Or with games like Halo, they have a more set in stone plot, but there's also a lot of lore. There's even movies about that video game franchise. But at the end of the day, to me, it feels more like your gameplay, which is see bad guy, shoot bad guy, move to next objective, which is the same exact plot of most first-person shooters. You are simply unlocking the story as you go along, but then there's multiplayer, and that's not about the story, that's just about the gameplay. And some people really, really hate games that don't give them the option to choose. I know a lot of people who are super into Halo and think that's the most revolutionary game of all time, and a ton of people who hate Halo because they think it's cliche, it's an Xbox exclusive, there's nothing great about it. I have nothing great to say about Halo, but I can't particularly say I hate it because it is a video game that a lot of people enjoy, and at the end of the day, some people want games that let them choose so that they can pick their own story, choose their own adventure, so it's not just unlocking a plot line. And other people really love the set in stone plot line because it's an interactive movie that, yes, only has one script and it only has one ending, but that controller or that keyboard and mouse gives you the illusion of free will, even though it's not really there. You are simply unlocking the story. And then again, some people really like games with bad graphics, so I understand that graphics is not everything in gameplay, but it is impressive, and I understand that story can help in a gameplay. I understand that stories in some gameplay is important, and for others it's not important at all. And all I know is I've played a lot of games, both multiplayer and campaign, but regardless of all of them, you typically have to get 40 to 50 to 60 hours into it to fully get the feel of the game, of whether or not you like it. Like the people I watch who review video games previously recorded, they'll describe their experience with the game by measuring it in 20 to 40 hours. I just can't do that. There's not enough time in my day to do the things I want to do. So to try to stack on things that I don't want to do because playing video games doesn't really produce anything, it's just supposed to be entertainment. And at the same time, I watch a ton of people play video games that don't look like they're having a good time. I almost don't even look at games as a form of entertainment. They are a fidgety computer program. It's something for you to finick with, because I watch people all the time yell at their computer. They're so angry at the game they're playing, and it's like, look, you paid for this. It's supposed to be entertaining, isn't it? And yet you seem really angry. You seem frustrated. People rage quit on games. I've seen people play for hours and hours and hours a game that they have a single straight face towards, or if they're in multiplayer rounds, have to tell everyone why we have to be sophisticated, organized, and this is how we're gonna win. Everything has to be done exactly right. We have to work as a team, and we'll get this objective done. It's like, doesn't this seem like work? I feel like games are giving you false endorphins, as in it feels like you're accomplishing something, and yet nothing is getting done. So for me, when I would play games, I wouldn't get a sense of entertainment. I would get a sense of frustration. I can't beat that level. This is annoying. I have a ton of real problems in my life. Can't I just put my frustration and my ability to try new things and to experiment with how I take action? Like, can't I save all those experiences for real life? Why do I need to pay for a program that's going to frustrate me and that's going to be complicated? Because I very rarely see people play games for hours and hours where they're completely entertained, they're laughing, and they're smiling the whole way through it. Not that movies are like that, but of all forms of media, I have to say that movies and TV shows are definitely the shortest. It's very rare that you can read a whole book in 20 minutes, but you can watch a TV episode in 20. Typically, good novels and books take 8 to 10 hours on average to get through, and a movie is just 2. So that's why I think that's my go-to choice, is YouTube videos that are short, TV shows that are pretty short, and occasionally I'll sit down and watch a movie, but definitely not every day because I want to get stuff done. In video games, so much time is spent doing that, and yet nothing gets done, and I don't understand why people are so attracted by it, because they get so frustrated and they have to use their wits for problem solving, but nothing's being solved. So I'm hoping that maybe in the comments you guys can help explain this a little better. Maybe I can learn why you guys are interested in video games and what you like about it. I get that it's the most interactive form of the media where you are the story. I just don't feel like that perspective is as entertaining. Movies, you watch the story to learn more about it and to provide insight with it, but when I watch a movie, I don't ever feel like I'm accomplishing something. And I feel like a game is trying to give you that illusion that you're accomplishing something. You're getting through the gameplay, you're beating other players, or you're unlocking the story. And again, at the end of the day, it's just a time thing. I don't have time for it, and I don't think I'll make time for it because I don't see what about it is so appealing. I understand that this is not a common thing. It's probably hypocritical that I have a gaming channel, but just because I'm not a gamer, it doesn't mean I hate all video games or I hate gamers. Just talking about me. That's what Hello World is. And I'd like to learn more about it, and I'd like to try games that other people play and are using, but me, myself, I don't see going out of my way to buy better gaming rigs or buying games themselves. I just don't see that happen. Hope you've thought about that. Anyway, thanks for watching this one. Keep in mind, guys, that we now have a P.O. box. If you want to mail things, we're gonna have a dedicated show on this channel where I'll be unboxing things. Just mail them to Orville, California, 95966. That's the area code, to P.O. Box 5430. Got a 1 foot by 2 foot P.O. box, and I'm very excited to see what you guys may send. Also, there's not gonna be any Hello World episodes next week because, as I mentioned earlier, I'm going to San Diego. I'm not gonna be here. I wasn't able to pre-schedule Hello World episodes, but I did pre-schedule tech videos, so there's gonna be tech videos all week, and I'll be vlogging this trip, so you're gonna be getting content anyway. So can't wait to see you guys later. Thanks. Take care.